Today is Monday, November the 9th. Today we looked at two theorems that deal with triangles. The first one was the theorem that tells us that every triangle has 180 degrees in it. The second theorem was a theorem that talked about the relationship between an exterior angle and the two remote interior angles. And I'll show you a picture of this on the share screen here. If I have a triangle and I extend one side, so let's say this is the side that I'm extending, and then I draw my triangle back down like this, then the angles we look at here, this would be angle 1, this would be angle 2, and then angle 3 out here is the angle that is called the exterior angle. The exterior angle is created by extending any side of a triangle. Now, the theorem that we looked at, the theorem says the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3. Now, you can prove this by basically saying, okay, if we come down here and add angle 4 here in the triangle, then we go back to what the 180 theorem says for the triangle. The 180 theorem says the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 4 is equal to 180 degrees. That's the first theorem that we got today. Then if we come down here and say, okay, if we look at this relationship between 3 and 4, the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180 also. So if I subtract, I've got to go, okay, if I subtract here the measure of angle 4 from both sides, so I get the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 minus the measure of angle 4. And then below it, for the other one, I get the measure of angle 3 equals 180 minus the measure of angle 4. And I didn't get that. Okay, so here we go. The measure of angle 3 equals, and the measure of angle equals 180 minus the measure of angle 4. So now I have the right side of both of these last two equations equal to the same thing. So by substitution, I can say that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3. So we have two theorems here. One that says that the sum of the angles in a triangle equals 180, which is what this equation here says. And the second theorem says the measure of the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So what we're going to do here, so I'll go ahead and erase this. Once again, you can pause it and study it. And then what I'll do is I'll show you an example problem here. So I'm going to draw a picture here, and when you look at some of these example problems, sometimes the pictures get a little bit elaborate, but just kind of stick with it. So if I come down here, I'll make this fairly large. So I've got one part here, and then I can draw a line that comes up like this. And then I can draw another line that comes across like this. And I can draw a line that comes down like this. And then I can draw a perpendicular from here straight down. That's a perpendicular. And then I can draw a line back to here. And I can draw another line down to here. And then I can draw a perpendicular from here up to here. Now, so what I have here, when I have the perpendicular, so I can draw my little square down here. So it says that's a perpendicular. And I can draw my little square over across here, which says that's a perpendicular. Now, this angle here in the corner is 25 degrees. 25 degrees. Okay, this is angle 3. 3 is here. 2 is here. This angle down here is 51 degrees. Okay, this is angle 1 here. This is 28 degrees here. And then this is angle 5 here. And this is angle 6 here. And this angle across here is a right angle. And then this is angle 4 up here. So I have to find the measure of the numbered angles. So now, if you look, the first thing I will do here, so we can say, go back to text here, the measure of angle 1 is equal to 90 minus 28, which is equal to 62. Now, the way I know that, because the acute angles in a right triangle are complementary. So 62 and 28 adds to 90, okay? Now, the same thing here, since this is a right angle, in this triangle it's also a right angle, so the measure of angle 2 is the same concept, equals 90 minus 51, which is equal to 39. Now, if you look at angle 3 here, angle 3 plus 25 equals 51, because this is your exterior angle concept. So I can say that 25 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 51. So we can subtract 25 from 51 and say the measure of angle 3 is equal to 26. Okay, now if I work my way across here, now then I can say this is, I'm missing something here. Let's see. I've got a 35 degree angle right here. So this is 35. I'll come back. I didn't put that 35 in there. This is 35. So I can come back now and I can get angle 5, because once again, if that's a right angle, that's a right angle. So the measure of angle 35, or the measure of angle 5, is equal to 90 minus the 35 up there, which is equal to 55 degrees. I had 55 and 35 is 90. Now, the same thing here, if I come down here to angle 6, the measure of angle 6 equals 90 minus the measure of angle 5, which is 55. So the measure of angle 6 is 35. And then I can go up here and say that the measure of angle 4 is equal to 90 minus the measure of angle 6, which is 90 minus 35, which is equal to 55. Now, so that's the type of problem that we spent most of the time working on today. Remember the two theorems you have. One theorem says that a triangle has 180 degrees in it. The second theorem we use for the exterior angle here, like you extend the side, 51 is exterior. It equals the sum of the two remote interiors, which in this case is 25 plus angle 3. And then the third corollary says that the two acute angles in a right triangle are complementary. And the fourth corollary says there can only be one right angle and one obtuse angle in a given triangle. One right angle or one obtuse angle. You can't have both at the same time. So look at your homework in this case. Tomorrow we get into congruent triangles. So check your homework problems. There are several of them, but they're fairly straightforward. And if I'm not mistaken, this problem we just worked here includes a couple of them. So I will stop sharing here and go back to the original problem. Now, if you look, once again, we'll be doing the mid-chapter quiz on Friday, so you can look and see what that requires with your Chapter 4 syllabus. Any questions, send me an email, and I'll get back to you with the answer.